Good morning, Venters. Happy Tuesday. It's Monday for me. I'm taking a walk this morning and it's actually cold outside. I don't know what it's going to be today, probably 100 degrees, but this morning right now it feels like it's about 65 or 70. I'm sure it's a couple degrees warmer, but I'm so used to it being in the 80s or even 90s in the morning that this feels legitimately cooler out. And there's nothing but shade regardless of the side of the street that I walk on. So that's a pretty good sign. I think we are officially in fall in the state of Arizona, and I have a feeling these temperatures are going to start dropping like crazy, because usually they find a way to get into the 40s and 50s come winter, and considering December and January are literally right around the corner, I have a feeling the temperatures are going to start getting crazy cold. If they're getting crazy cold where you live, let me know if you've busted out the windbreaker or the, maybe the hoodie. Let me know. Guys, it's so funny. I don't know, when you guys are on YouTube or TikTok, I know TikTok has shorter videos. That's why I've never been a fan. I like seeing something that I enjoy and then engrossing myself in that video. And if that video is 20 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, the longer the better as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm interested in the subject matter. But today we find out, or at least I found out on News Nation, that basically TikTok executives, when they were behind closed doors, knew that their platform was really causing a lot of depression and grief among its users, especially its youthful users, which I assume make up a majority of its fan base. They also apparently knew that in just about 30 to 35 minutes, the average new user, especially the young ones, would actually get addicted. To help this process along, what they would do is whenever somebody was deemed beautiful or attractive, they would push those videos a lot more than the unattractive videos. And it got me to thinking, because I'm not the most attractive walker by any means, I don't see any way, shape, or form where YouTube's not doing the same exact thing. As a matter of fact, I went ahead and started looking at videos where people were like, hey, I'm ugly. They don't get very many views on YouTube either. And if you look at all the popular YouTubers, not only do they have a good voice, but they're usually extremely attractive. So I started looking at other walking channels. Once again, good-looking people, lots of views. But here's my question for you. Is that a YouTube and TikTok thing? Or is that actually a human nature thing? Because if you see two YouTubers or two TikTokers, right? And you're looking at both of them and you're thinking, which one do I push? And one is maybe an attractive person and the other not so attractive. Well, isn't it human nature that we're going to push the attractive one, a little bit more than the unattractive one? And isn't it human nature that the more people that push the attractive one, the more people are going to see that video? So I don't know if I can blame that on TikTok or YouTube. Supposedly with TikTok, there's ways where people were actually stripping, which is really weird. I don't think I've ever seen a TikTok video where people were stripping, but whenever somebody's trying to get another company to sell, they're going to pull out all the stops. And in case you don't know, one of the things that is alleged against TikTok, the company itself, is that they have ties to the CCP, the communist, the Chinese Communist Party. So they want them to sell to somebody else in order to stay in the country. So I don't know if TikTok is going to be a thing of the past in the near future, but I think it's a little weird when you suggest that they're pushing attractive YouTubers and attractive TikTokers, and in the same moment they're not pushing the unattractive TikTokers, when I can honestly say I feel like YouTube does the same thing. Is it really YouTube or TikTok, or is it just human nature? If I was going to watch a walking video myself and the choice was this ugly face with all these wrinkles, dips, and scars, or a beautiful person, I would probably choose the beautiful person too. But here's the thing. I can admit that it's probably human nature. I'm not going to blame it on a platform. And the reality is, if it only takes you 30 minutes or 35 minutes to get thoroughly hooked, I don't know if that's again something I would hold against the platform. That sounds to me like a goal for everybody. I mean, isn't YouTube wanting to keep people on the platform for as long as possible? Sean, you and I and Mala have talked till we're blue in the face about this idea that every time you mention certain platforms in your comments, nobody gets to see the comment. Mala, you write something and apparently we have a person that just waits for your comments to delete them. So I don't know, it just seems really, really weird. I think the young people today, let's say age 25 and younger, I think it would blow them away if they knew how much freer we were as a people 25 to 30 years ago. I mean, does anyone else feel that way? We're not really as free in this country since we started getting these platforms. That's just the reality. Every third word you have to watch and make sure that you use a filler word. You hear words that don't even exist in real life, like unalived. How many times have you guys heard the word unalived on a YouTube video? And you know why? Because you can't use the obvious word that would make so much more sense than unalived. So again, it's just so weird. We hear about how we have all these freedoms here, and it's just ridiculous. And that's one of those things where I actually blame the young people as in 30 years of age and younger, because they've grown up in this weird world where this partial censorship and these ways of looking at an American company different than a Chinese company, I mean, it's just so hypocritical to me that I find it ridiculous. Just because I'm not necessarily the most beautiful YouTuber, I don't necessarily blame my lack of views on anybody, you know? It's a tough deal. I see videos all the time, like with Kara, and I think, my God, she does great videos, but nobody watches her stuff. But if you were to really analyze it, it's not because Kara's less attractive than other people. It's not because she's less talented. It's because every single video she entitled day number 1, day number 2. So unless you as a searcher of videos is typing in the search window day number 1 or day number 2, nobody's gonna see Kara's videos. Now, if Kara was the most beautiful girl on the planet, would she get more views? Maybe, probably, but it wouldn't be because of the algorithm or anything crazy like that. I think it would be because beautiful people tend to have orbiters, especially young, beautiful women, right? So if you're a drop-dead gorgeous girl, more than likely you're gonna get some people that thumbs up your video simply because they wanna see more of you in the future. You know, so I mean, I think we have these things that make certain videos more attractive. If you're a good-looking human being and you speak halfway decently, I think you probably should start a YouTube channel. Take advantage of your looks. There's a lot of videos where you can type in, "I'm ugly," and it'll show actually good-looking hosts that are doing reaction videos to people that are ugly. But again, anytime you plug in the word TikTok, it's my opinion at least, that you could plug in the word Facebook or you could plug in the word YouTube. And now that I've talked about TikTok and Facebook on my video, for all I know, it'll get 15 to 0 views. Like you literally, your success as a YouTuber is kind of determined by YouTube itself. So again, it's one of those things where it's like I'm torn, because I believe that yes, people do get more views if they're better looking, but I just don't know if I can fully blame TikTok, fully blame YouTube, or if I just have to say it's human nature. We tend to be more attracted to young, youthful, energetic, good-looking people. One of the things that I found in life is that when you're not the best-looking guy, you have to have some game. You know, the world was a lot better for guys like me before the advent of online dating. You know, with online dating, you are literally a resume on a heap of endless numbers of resumes, right? You're one out of a million, and you're hoping somebody swipes a certain way or another if you're doing online dating. When you used to date somebody in person before the advent of the online world, you would have to meet them via a friend or via an event. You had to have a little bravery and courage. Now I hear it's a situation where people never go up to each other in public. People never go out there and meet somebody and date them. Instead, they do this swipe left, swipe right. So whenever anybody goes on a date with you, they already know what you look like. They already know if they're attracted to you. So it's a little bit harder to spit that game. Now, the reality is, if I liked you and we went on a date, even if we met via online, I'm still going to try to use some game if I do like you, right? But it's different. It's kind of like cheating. You used to go on a date with a person, and you had to wow them. You had to show them what a great personality you had. You had to show them that, hey, going on a date with this person wouldn't be boring. Now all you have to do is just have the best online profile with a great picture. Half the people on these pictures use these filters and stuff, right? And so what happens is it's a bunch of plastic people trying to meet up with other plastic people. And then you end up finding out afterwards that, hey, this really good looking person is absolutely ugly on the inside. Jesse, you babble a lot. Yeah, I know, Bob. I know I do. I've been on YouTube before for 5 or 6 hours. I can't tell you how many times I'm watching a football game and I'm still scrolling up and down on my YouTube feed. So whenever I hear all these complaints about TikTok, all I ever think is, that's YouTube. That's the same thing. Okay, TikTok has a 30-second video. YouTube's average, 5 or 6 minutes? Guys, in the grand scheme of things, they're the same thing. As a matter of fact, if you get rid of TikTok, all it does is it takes away that option and it forces people over to YouTube. So I'm sure YouTube execs are watching this thing thinking, yeah, get them, stick it to them. We don't need that asshole TikTok company. But the reality is, you're next in line, right? I mean, I don't think it really matters if you're American. We've opened Pandora's box now. We now know that these websites are designed to make young people depressed. We know these websites are designed to make people feel lesser than. So again, it's TikTok today, but there's going to be somebody that accuses you of the same thing tomorrow. And the reality is, if I look at your videos, look at any walking video, listen to what they're saying. They're boring. They don't have any comments. They don't have any thumbs up. Not all of them. Some of them have extremely popular shows. But I have some people that I look at and it's like, how does this person have any views? They're like a box of rocks. No personality at all, right? But they have thousands of views. They just don't have any thumbs ups or anything. So it's really weird. The system obviously pushes out others in favor of some, If I were YouTube, if I were X, if I were, X/Twitter, if I were Facebook, I think I would be on TikTok's side. I mean, do you really want to get rid of somebody whose model is the exact same business model yours is? What happens when you go on Facebook? It's one post after another. It's little funny, memes. It's this, that, and the other. It's all designed to get you to stay on. What's the difference between those reels that you watch on Facebook and TikTok? I don't see any difference. They've all kind of morphed into the same thing. You come on Facebook, on YouTube. What's the first thing you see on your feed? A bunch of little 30-second shorts. I ponder, I think, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, other people's situations. And if I was the head of TikTok, I would literally say, this sounds like discrimination. What's different between TikTok and YouTube Shorts? What's different between TikToks and those Insta Reels that we see on Facebook? There is no difference. No difference whatsoever. And every single one of these beautiful people on YouTube and stuff has probably had people hit them up via email or via messages to see if they could get something more out of it. So when TikTok says, oh, people are stripping, 15-year-olds are stripping, I have never in my life seen a TikTok video where people are stripping. Have you? I've never seen that. I've seen a lot of videos on all the platforms that were very iffy, wondering how the hell this one got through. How did this one become popular? But I also see videos like Kara's and Chronically Stephanie, and I think, why the hell aren't these videos more popular? I mean, guys, when we're watching Chronically Stephanie or 24 Karat, Kara, how many of us say, wow, I really love Kara. Wow, I really enjoy Stephanie's videos. Wow, these are heartbreaking. This is so touching. These are two girls that in the 80s or 90s, their video reminds me of something that you would see on a Dateline exclusive or on some sort of one-on-one type interview type show. Yet they're not good enough to get any views on YouTube. By the way, if any of you guys have ever done a YouTube channel, my God, it really does mess with your mind. Today, by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm not upset by this at all. Does not bother me. I'm okay with the person that I am. That's one of the things that the walks taught me. Because you want to know something? Whenever you go through a breakup or a split up, or if somebody fires you, there's always a piece of you that wonders, why did Tina get better treatment than me? Why does Bobby look better than me? Why did she break up with me to be with Joe? I think that's human nature. We always think that stuff, right? We always look at the person in the mirror and we're always kind of hypercritical towards those people. The only thing I say is, if you're hypercritical towards the person in the mirror, why don't you change the person in the mirror? So there are some very, very problematic things I have with all the platforms. So when they tell you, hey, YouTube's about getting your subscribers to thumbs up your video and to share your video and to leave comments, you guys do that every single day. It's almost like it doesn't matter. It's almost like it's a crapshoot. You're either popular or you're not. And that's the thing that's so kind of cruel about YouTube. Life is about disappointments. That's why I want you guys to know, when it comes to this channel, if you're struggling with your weight, if you're struggling with your mental health, a lot of us are. This YouTube channel is an experiment, a social experiment, if you will, on how people can go from being on top of the world to on the bottom. You guys have seen how I told you at the beginning, wanted to be in my father's life, found out he's been dead for 5 years, want to be in my son's life, just had about the 6th or 7th birthday year in a row where I can't get in touch with my son. Very, very disappointing things. These are things where people find them interesting because maybe they're dealing with these same issues. It doesn't matter to YouTube. You're just a resume on a stack of endless resumes. I'm going to contemplate doing new things. I'm going to contemplate thinking outside of the box. I'm not going to give up. And that's why you shouldn't give up. This is a channel about resilience. This is a channel about willpower. If everything went our way, willpower and resilience wouldn't be necessary. So again, why am I saying this? Is it because I'm on an eternal bitch mode? No! Life is about things never going our way. Not sometimes not going our way. Life is about things predominantly not going our way. Don't let your wrinkles, dips, and ugliness about you hold you back. Show people the light within you, and they will follow. Guys, I like when people think outside the box. When there's a teacher and a student, and the teacher needs to let the students know that, hey, there's a deadline tomorrow, you need to make sure you get your work turned in. Or there's a test next week, make sure you guys study. I think cell phones can be used for positives when it comes to academics in that format. Where the distraction occurs is when kids bring the cell phones into the classroom, and before you know it, they're not focusing on the lesson, they're focusing on their phone and people that are bothering them. So Southern Illinois University decided to do some research, and they tried an experiment where 20 minutes into a lecture, they would have professors stop the class so that the students could have a 60-second technology or cell phone break. What they found is that by giving these students a 1-minute phone break 20 minutes into the lecture, it created a situation where it was just enough time for students to check their messages, respond to their messages, and then focus back on the task at hand, which is the learning aspect of the classroom. Teachers also found that when they added a subsequent 1-minute question segment to the class or course, they found out that it ended up making test results go up even more. And we're talking 80% of the students that were involved in this research actually went ahead and had improved test scores and focus. So here's my question to you. Is this a good plan? Should we go ahead and make this a plan that a lot of colleges and ultimately high schools will get into, where they give the kids enough time to check their messages so they can focus? While I think it does work at the college or university level because you're dealing with adults, I still think it would be a good idea if we got rid of the cell phones altogether when it comes to the kids in high school. The kids in high school don't need their cell phones. A lot of their friends are fellow high schoolers, and if their friends are adults, why the heck are they calling high schoolers anyway? So again, I love the thinking outside of the box. Hey, I think I found a candidate that we can all agree needs a good try. Look at, how about Jesus Christ for 2024? I like it. I like it. What do you guys think? I like to think that somebody came up with this idea while they were on their daily walk. Now here's the thing. I don't know if it's that great of an idea, and I don't know if it was that great of a study. Does 1 minute really give you enough time to pull out your phone? Or is that gonna potentially have a downfall? Because if you give me 1 minute to check my phone, and all of a sudden I get a real juicy text and, hey, call me right away, I've got something important to tell you, I could see how it could ultimately have the opposite effect. At the same time, if you know that people are blowing up your phone and that you have a technology break coming up in 15 or 20 minutes, maybe it'll give kids the onus to go ahead and keep the phone in their pocket rather than having it in their face. So I think there's some positives to this. We have to have people that are willing to come up with new, fresh ideas. And if the best way to actually get kids to focus and keep their cell phones out of the classroom is to give them a dedicated minute or two to look at that cell phone, then heck, I think that's a good idea. I think the best way to be proactive would be to immediately eliminate cell phones from the grade schools, the middle schools, and the high schools. And then maybe kids' test scores will naturally start to get better and they'll become better students overall. You know, when you have a cell phone, you're kind of dealing with adult stuff, right? Kids don't really need the adult stuff in their hands all the time. What they really need to do is focus. So what we really need to have is a situation where the adults in the equation, which are the parents, and the school officials need to get together and they need to say, hey, we're gonna get together with the cell phone companies and we're gonna make it where the only thing that works on the phone are emergency 911 calls. Then once we make it where the phones can only call 911 services, then what we'll do is we'll create those badges for teachers and staff where at the push of a button they can call medical or they can call police backup and help. I think that's a good 1-2 punch. What'll happen is we'll get to a point where in 3 or 4 years, things will start to get back to normal. The cell phone really destroys everything in this world. It's such a useful tool that we're okay that we no longer have a memory worth a shit, because we used to know 10 or 15 phone numbers up here in the noggin. I'd be willing to bet you don't know more than 1 or 2 phone numbers by memory now. We used to exercise and get out and do things. Now, our exercise includes shopping by fingertip and by eyeball on the phone, right? And we used to have coping skills and communicate. Now we all have phones on their hips and we're talking less than ever. People that are in the same room that could easily raise their voice and talk to one another are texting each other when they're mere feet away. If that doesn't tell you that we need to make a radical change in this country, I don't know what will. Students that are coming from other countries are dominating us in the classroom, and I think it's because they're realistic. They know that when you get here in the States, it's about competition, and you want to put your best foot forward. Meanwhile, we're trying to placate our kids by letting them have their cell phones in the classroom, and there's not anything you can tell me that'll lead me to agree that we need to accommodate them there. There's no need for them to have cell phones in the classroom. I hope you guys agree with me, and if you do, let me know down below. Either way, have a wonderful day. Remember, all these fun ideas that people come up with, there's no reason why you can't do the same. So enjoy your walk, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow, Venters.